Greetings. It is April 17th, 2020, during trying times worldwide. And I just I had completed it around April 1st, but I more recently decided I didn't like the plain piece of wood, vertical. I was on the right, and I just finished a few minutes ago several days of work of artifying that whole beam. Sightseeing with Dignity Human Rights Art Series 39 with Sea Monsters and the Martyrdom of Stephen T.Johns on June 10th, 2009. Johns was a Maryland-born U.S. federal police officer, African-American, born 1969, murdered by a Christian-American terrorist, a Ku Klux Klan, longtime Ku Klux Klan terrorist and professional anti-Semite. Officer Johns was murdered, shot to death at the entryway of the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C. The sea monsters, of course, are allegorical and or metaphorical. These two drawings are drawn from photos of children in the Warsaw Ghetto, which is a concentration death camp. This child was drawn from a photo I saw in the photo archives online of the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C. A gypsy, preferred usage is Romani or Sinti, a child photographed in the 1930s by someone in Europe. I'll include the attribution in my description text as to who took the photograph and the photo number, which can be viewed online. The Romani and Sinti peoples, like Jewish Europeans, were targeted for mass murder, annihilation, genocide all across Europe by the Nazis and their fascist allies. So we have three allegorical sea monsters, lower left there, center right there, and the largest one up there. I mentioned a couple of other things. When I was, this piece on the right is from a old piano that had fallen off, and I salvaged it. It finally came to good use here. And then I did the like tiles in on the front part of the wood beam there. And then I constructed more wood to kind of protect it all. There's a couple of screws that have yellow-orange color on the surface of them. That one there. And there's one there. I think they may be the very last remnants of an artwork I began on a hillside in southern Poland in Ritchow in 1984. Which I completed that fall after I got back to Seattle. That was my first trip to Poland, called Homage to Pawiak Prison, Warsaw in 1984. Some years later, I think it might have been around 2011 or 12, I disassembled the work. It had needed to have been like plexiglass containered in, but I hadn't done that, and unfortunately I saved pieces of it. Some of the wooden pieces of it have been used in other and mosaic drawing combos in the Under the Wing series. One section of a drawing that was part of the artwork is now framed. It can be viewed in my website. What else? This piece of brick, and I believe this stone here I picked up on a walk along the Thames River. I believe in spring 2017, when I was on a teaching trip to Britain, a school in Wales and Cardiff University. All right, that's it. Officer Johns of blessed memory. This here is either from an old sewing machine that I helped a friend take when I was visiting him to a recycling depot in Newborough, Scotland. And it's a little piece of Scotland there. I think that's it. This piece was actually from I forget if it was a fork or a spoon that fell apart, and I had saved it because the end, I finally got to use it somewhere. These shell. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 shells there from beach walks, different places where I've beach walked around Britain, Florida, Haifa, Tel Aviv, Spain, among other places over the years, and around Seattle too, for that matter, West Seattle. All right, and out on the coast by La Push. That's it. I should also mention this Sunday will be I believe it's the 77th anniversary. So many years have gone by. Of course, I'm gotten older myself. 77th anniversary of the start of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, April 19th, 1943, which for years has been viewed as this great heroic feat by the Jewish prisoners in the ghetto. Well, what it really represented, of course, was the final death knell of Polish Jewry, which had the largest Jewish population in the world prior to 1939 and the Nazi invasion. There were 50,000 Jewish prisoners still alive, if barely, when the Nazis began this final destruction of the ghetto and its inhabitants, and very few were alive by the end of the war. Many were killed, murdered in the ghetto, and others who were captured were taken to the death camps, such as like Majdanek, where Gidel Lasky was murdered, who I depicted in the Under the Wing series. Her aunt, Hannah Lauber, was a survivor and had given me a photograph. This is many years ago, back around 1994. Anyway, we remember to hopefully help prevent future genocides. Sadly, I remember in at least one book I have of writings by late survivor Elie Wiesel. He wrote how in the 1950s he and other survivors believed the world's people would have learned lessons from Auschwitz and the other mass murder death camps and the concentration death camps. But sadly, genocides have continued on worldwide. But we do pay vigilance, and we try to keep vigilance and speak out as we can when injustice. There's a great quote by a murdered American Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King about speaking out in injustice. I'll have to look for that. Something like injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere, something to that effect. Anyway, there you have it. Thank you, everyone. Be safe. And trying times right now. First with the coronavirus. In America with the genocidal gun violence, which claims in recent years about 39,000 victims a year. It's actually more than I've last heard in the news, About 34,000 people in the United States have died of the coronavirus. I heard that in the news either last night or this morning. And so several thousand less than the annual needless and preventable deaths from America's gun terrorism. So be safe. Thank you. Lastly, as I tell school audiences during presentations, when you hear of injustice anywhere, it could be in your neighborhood, the district you live in, it could be in another part of the country you live in, it could be in the other side of the planet, thousands of miles away. Speak out. Speak up. The Holocaust did not have to happen when the murder of about 10 million people by the Nazis and fascists in World War II did not have to happen. That's why we speak out today with other crimes and injustices.